Red Bull has pulled the pin and dropped Alex Albon from its Formula 1 driver lineup in 2021, signing Sergio Perez to partner Max Verstappen instead. It brings the driver market's last truly interesting saga to a close with a fascinating conclusion, rescuing Perez from a year on the sidelines and opting for a driver outside Red Bull's own pool for the first time since Mark Webber raced for the team in 2013. Red Bull has wrestled with this decision for a long time, so here's why it came to the conclusion it did, how we can expect Perez to fare, and what comes next for Verstappen's latest teammate victim. Albon had a disappointing first full season at Red Bull alongside Verstappen. Though Verstappen was able to split or fight the Mercedes drivers at times throughout the year, winning the 70th anniversary and Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, Albon failed to progress even as Red Bull's tricky car improved. He scored his first F1 podium with a feisty drive at Mugello where he had to recover from various setbacks and was tipped by Red Bull to build on that. But instead, Albon just scored 1 point in the 4 races that followed, including a 3-race pointless run after compromising his Eiffel Grand Prix with an early error, then a needless clash with Daniel Kvyat, failing to recover from a terrible start in Portugal and spinning late in the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix at Imola. Albon briefly moved into victory contention in F1's chaotic Turkish Grand Prix before spinning, then inherited a second podium finish in Bahrain after a race he ran up to 40 seconds adrift of Verstappen and couldn't get past Perez. Then a miserable second weekend in Bahrain seemed to be the final nail in Albon's coffin. He was knocked out of Q2 in qualifying and only finished 6th in a Grand Prix Verstappen and both Mercedes drivers were eliminated from victory contention in and was won by Perez. Albon did save the relative best until last with what he was convinced was a final round breakthrough. He posted his closest qualifying performance to Verstappen of the season in Abu Dhabi, even though Lando Norris's surprisingly fast McLaren beat Albon to 4th on the grid. In the race, Albon drifted away from the lead fight, but while he only finished 4th while Verstappen won, he was at least able to pressure Mercedes to the finish and played a part in the outcome by stopping Verstappen's rivals splitting their strategies or being able to take a breather. But the pattern of tiny steps being followed by setbacks had taken its toll, and one final flourish of sorts was not enough to convince Red Bull it would be sustained into 2021. As Albon failed to build momentum, Perez went from strength to strength in 2020 and suddenly a driver that shouldn't have been on the market at all was in Red Bull's scopes. Perez was only informed by Racing Point that he would activate a get-out clause in his contract for 2021 in the summer, so the team could sign Sebastian Vettel instead. With Perez unexpectedly available and out-of-contract Nico Hülkenberg impressing in stand-in appearances for Racing Point when Perez and Lance Stroll had COVID-19, Red Bull had 2 experienced options outside its driver pool to consider. Armed with the 3rd fastest car on the grid, Perez put aside any frustrations over his impending Racing Point exit and pieced together the best season of his career. The 30-year-old finished 4th in the championship and scored a breakthrough victory in a dramatic Sakhir Grand Prix. And having beaten Hülkenberg to be first in line for this Red Bull chance, Perez needs to tread a fine line to make the most of it. He will seek to establish himself as more than just a support act for Verstappen, but needs to make sure he doesn't turn the team against him. While he cannot afford to take it easy or give himself too much time to settle in, he also can't pile into the team, shouting the odds and causing trouble. After all, Perez has had a few incidents with teammates in the past, notably with Esteban Ocon at Force India, and while it's ancient history today, he also had run-ins with Jenson Button at McLaren in 2013. The one thing worse than a desperately underperforming teammate for Red Bull would be one who provokes civil war. But Perez has learned how to conduct himself over the years, so he will recognise the need to take a measured approach. He will not match Verstappen, but he is likely to get a lot closer than Albon did, with a wider array of skills setting the more experienced Perez up better to cope with the challenges at Red Bull than the likes of Albon or Gasly did previously. Perez will aim to show Red Bull what it's been missing for the past couple of years by being the perfect support act to Verstappen and, unlike his predecessors, consistently being a presence in the group at the front. That's what Red Bull signed him to do, and that's exactly what he should deliver. Albon's F1 career now hangs in the balance. He's not been kicked out of F1 entirely, as Red Bull will keep him in a sidelined reserve role next year. A combination of Perez failing alongside Verstappen and Red Bull not wanting to promote either Pierre Gasly or Yuki Tsunoda appears the only route for Albon to get a reprieve in the senior team in the future. But replacing either Gasly or Tsunoda at AlphaTauri, should either of them get promoted in 2022, or if Gasly leaves entirely, seems more plausible. But while Albon is a likeable driver who can be brilliantly fast when he's happy with the car, he's also not a normal Red Bull driver and far from a long-nurtured mega-talent. Dropped as a Red Bull junior after his first year of car racing in 2012, Albon only ended up in F1 in 2019 with a big slice of fortune. He'd signed a deal to race for Nissan Edams in Formula E, but with Red Bull having no immediate young drivers to promote to Toro Rosso and both seats available, he decided to pursue Albon's services after a strong Formula 2 season in which he fought George Russell for the title. Red Bull convinced Albon to get out of his Formula E move, and he impressed given the restricted preparation he could conduct for his F1 debut in 2019, particularly alongside the much more experienced Daniel Kvyat, another Red Bull reject picked up again to address the company's driver shortage. Albon's strong rookie season combined with Gasly having a bad first year alongside Verstappen led to Red Bull's shock mid-season driver swap in 2019, which put Albon in the senior team for the rest of the season. And he performed well enough to earn a full year with Red Bull in 2020, but ultimately team bosses have lost faith that he will be able to realise the potential he has shown flashes of. And as we've explained already, it's not too difficult to see why. But do you think Red Bull's picked the right driver to partner Verstappen in 2021? Let us know in the comments below, give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the race if you've not already done so to check out our new videos in the future.